Why did these submarines disappear without a trace? The ocean is a vast alien world, more unknown to us than the surface of the moon. It conceals secrets, swallows vessels, and refuses to yield answers. Ships vanish, planes crash. But when a military submarine disappears, it strikes a unique chord of terror. These aren't fragile civilian craft. They are armored giants of steel, engineered to survive the most punishing environments on Earth. And yet, even these marvels can vanish. In the cold depths of the Atlantic, the icy waters of the North Atlantic, and the unpredictable seas of the Caribbean, 3 submarines, each with its own story, its own mission, its own loyal crew, disappeared, seemingly without warning and certainly without explanation. In this video, we dive deep into the disappearances of the USS Scorpion, USS Thresher, and the French submarine Surcouf. What happened to these state-of-the-art machines? Were they victims of mechanical failure or something more sinister? Let's begin. A nuclear mystery. The USS Scorpion was one of the U.S. Navy's nuclear-powered attack submarines. Commissioned in 1960, it belonged to the Skipjack class, a sleek, fast design that reflected Cold War priorities. It was capable of speeds over 30 knots while submerged and had a crew of 99. Armed with torpedoes and powered by a nuclear reactor, it was meant to be a hunter, stalking enemy submarines and ships in strategic waters. In May 1968, the Scorpion was returning from a deployment in the Mediterranean. Its last communication was a routine message indicating all was normal, but it never made it to its home port in Norfolk, Virginia. Initially, the Navy kept the public in the dark. It wasn't until the submarine was overdue by 5 days that its disappearance was officially acknowledged. Soon after, search and rescue efforts transformed into a grim search and recovery mission. It took nearly 5 months before underwater cameras found the wreckage, lying over 11,000 feet beneath the surface. The images were eerie. The hull was shattered. The sail twisted grotesquely. Sections of the submarine were scattered across the seabed. Whatever happened had been catastrophic and instantaneous. The official Navy inquiry pointed to a probable torpedo explosion. A defective Mark 37 torpedo may have started a chain reaction, either due to an accidental activation or a fire in the torpedo room. But the language of the report was carefully vague, neither confirming nor denying specific scenarios. Some believed the Scorpion was sunk in an act of war. The Cold War was boiling just beneath the surface. The Scorpion had been conducting surveillance on Soviet naval activity. The theory goes that it may have been ambushed or retaliated against for spying. The Soviet Navy was known to be trailing U.S. submarines, and some intelligence analysts privately entertained the possibility that the Scorpion was destroyed by an enemy sub. Adding to the intrigue, the Scorpion had technical problems even before it departed. Its trash disposal unit had malfunctioned, the hydraulic system was leaking, and engineers had expressed concern over electrical shorts near the torpedo system. Could all these faults have added up to a disaster waiting to happen? Despite being one of the most advanced vessels in the U.S. Navy, the USS Scorpion met its end in silence. Its nuclear reactor remains entombed on the seafloor, along with 2 nuclear-tipped torpedoes. The true cause of its loss remains a tightly guarded mystery, if it is even known at all. "5 years before the Scorpion, another submarine tragedy shocked the United States Navy and changed submarine safety protocols forever. The USS Thresher was the pride of the American fleet, state-of-the-art, nuclear-powered, and loaded with classified technology. It was designed for deep diving and stealth, intended to counter growing Soviet submarine capabilities. At the time, it was one of the most advanced submarines ever built. On April 10, 1963, the Thresher departed Portsmouth Naval Shipyard for a series of deep dive tests, following a major overhaul. Accompanying the dive was a surface vessel, the USS Skylark, equipped to track and communicate with the sub. The test was routine until it wasn't. At approximately 9:12 a.m., as the Thresher descended past 1,000 feet, communication became distorted. The Skylark received a final garbled message, experiencing minor difficulties attempting to blow ballast. Moments later, a series of strange acoustic events were detected, interpreted by experts as the sound of a submarine imploding under massive pressure. The wreck was later found at a depth of over 8,000 feet, shattered into thousands of pieces. It had imploded instantly. No one survived. The subsequent investigation pointed to a cascade of mechanical failures. A likely scenario was that a silver-brazed pipe carrying seawater cracked under pressure. Water sprayed into an electrical compartment, triggering a short that shut down the reactor. Without power, the submarine couldn't maintain depth. The crew tried to blow ballast tanks using compressed air, but the pipes may have been clogged with moisture. Ice blocked the valves. The submarine descended uncontrollably. The Thresher was crushed by external pressure, estimated at over 3,500 pounds per square inch. There was no chance for rescue. The tragedy claimed 129 lives and shook public confidence in the U.S. Navy's submarine program. It led to the creation of the SubSafe program, a series of rigorous design, inspection, and maintenance standards for all U.S. submarines. SubSafe overhauled every aspect of construction and operation. To this day, no SubSafe certified submarine has been lost. But there are those who still question the official explanation. The classified nature of the Thresher's technology led to rumors that it had been carrying sensitive experimental weapons. Others speculated it collided with another vessel or suffered from a reactor meltdown. Regardless of the cause, the Thresher's loss was a watershed moment in naval history. It remains the deepest submarine disaster in U.S. history and a sobering reminder of what can go wrong beneath the waves. Unlike the Scorpion or the Thresher, the French submarine Surcouf was a relic of another time, a World War II-era behemoth built for a unique kind of warfare. Commissioned in 1934, the Circouf was designed to operate as a submarine cruiser. At over 360 feet long, it was the largest submarine in the world at the time. It carried not only torpedoes but also two massive 8-inch deck guns, the same size used on surface battleships, and a hangar housing a float plane for reconnaissance. The Circouf was supposed to be France's answer to naval power projection, a stealth raider that could surface, bombard enemy convoys, and vanish again. But by the time World War II erupted, the Circouf's role had become uncertain. When France fell to Germany in 1940, the submarine was seized by the British and later handed to Free French forces under General Charles de Gaulle. However, distrust lingered. The British and Americans were wary of the Free French Navy. They feared sabotage, political instability, and double dealings with Vichy collaborators. On February 12, 1942, the Surcouf departed Bermuda en route to the Pacific Theater by way of the Panama Canal. She was scheduled to arrive several days later. She never made it. The U.S. freighter Thompson Likes later reported a collision that same night. In heavy seas, the ship's crew felt an impact and assumed they had struck an unlit vessel. They searched the area in the morning and found only an oil slick. The Navy later concluded the collision had involved the Surcouf, but questions quickly emerged. Why was there no distress signal? How did such a massive submarine, equipped with radar and communications, fail to identify itself? Was it truly an accident? Some French officials claimed the Circouf may have been deliberately sunk, either by the Allies who no longer trusted her, or by Axis forces operating covertly in the region. The idea that the Americans might have sunk a free French vessel by mistake and then covered it up was quietly discussed, but never publicly acknowledged. No wreckage was ever recovered. No definitive proof of a collision exists. Theories range from enemy attack, sabotage, mutiny, or navigational error. To this day, the Circouf remains one of the greatest unsolved maritime disappearances of World War II. 3 submarines, 3 disappearances, different times, different oceans, different missions, but striking similarities remain. Each was a major symbol of national pride and naval strength. Each was operating in contested waters during a time of heightened military tension. Each vanished suddenly and left behind an absence of answers. Submarines by design are shrouded in secrecy. Their locations are classified, their missions unknown to the public. When disaster strikes, the silence is deafening and often permanent. Mechanical failure, human error, environmental forces, and hostile action are all possibilities. But when the wreckage is unreachable or the evidence ambiguous, mystery takes root. Conspiracy theories flourish in that vacuum. Was the Scorpion a victim of a Cold War attack? Did the Thresher's mission involve something more than test dives? Was the Circouf really lost in a tragic accident or erased by political interests? We may never know. Behind each of these steel giants were real people. Sons, fathers, husbands. The losses were devastating not just to the naval communities, but to the families left behind with no closure. The families of the Scorpion crew were never told a definitive cause. The families of the Thresher sailors waited weeks for news, only to learn their loved ones were crushed in an instant. And the Surcouf's loss was buried beneath a wave of wartime secrecy. Most bodies were never recovered. Many sailors were memorialized only by name. Their last moments are unknown, leaving room only for speculation and sorrow. And even now, their wrecks lie in silence, far below the reach of divers, deeper than most machines can safely go. The ocean holds its secrets tightly. The USS Scorpion, the USS Thresher, the Surcouf, each a monument to the risks of deep-sea warfare, each a chapter in a book of mysteries we may never fully read. Despite the satellites above, the sensors we've developed, and the billions spent on defense technology, some ships vanish and stay vanished. Until we find those answers, all we can do is honor the lost and keep listening to the silence of the deep.